Starting Friday, there's a mall in Miyagi Prefecture where a machine looks at your face before it decides whether you're allowed to buy cardboard. Not a bank, not an airport, a card shop in an Ion mall. You walk up, you consent to a facial recognition scan. The system checks whether it's already seen you today, and if it has, you don't go in. Doesn't matter what you're there for, doesn't matter that you're 8. That last part isn't a joke, and I'm going to come back to it. The Pokémon Company put this out on the 24th in a store notice written in the tone of a parking garage sign, facial recognition at a Pokémon store. And the thing that's going to sit with me for a while is that I don't think they're wrong to do it. All right, properly. 5 stores, all opening July 31st, all closing August 16th. Pop-ups, Ion Mall in Nitori, Shofu Parko in Tokyo, Hikashira, Ion Mall Hiroshima Fuchu, Ion Mall Chikushino. These aren't Pokemon centers, they're Pokemon Card Stores, the smaller card-focused ones. Packs, some Pokemon Center merch, a few plushes, and free tutorial events for people learning the game. Very wholesome, very bring your kid. They're opening for Storm Emeralda, the new mega expansion, which is exactly the kind of release that turns a suburban mall into an incident report. So here's how it works. You show up before you can walk in, or before you can take a numbered queue ticket, you consent to a face scan. 1 entry per person per day, 1 ticket per person per day. If it clocks you coming back around for a second bite, an alert fires on the staff screen and this is the company's own language, cleaned up into English a human would write. Entry is denied based on the system's judgment. The system's judgment, cool. You also don't get to opt out. The notice says accepting the system and agreeing to the rules are conditions of entry. So your options are be scanned or be somewhere else. They do say the face data isn't kept forever. It gets deleted after a certain period. What period? Unspecified. Love that. And then the detail I flagged at the top, the scan applies to everyone elementary school age and up. Preschoolers are exempt, but they can't come in alone. They need a guardian with them. So the exemption threshold for biometric surveillance at a Pokemon store is 1st grade. Be so for real. Now, I'll be fair for 1 second because this is less unprecedented than the headline sounds. Gundam stores in Japan have been running the same kind of system for a while, same reason, 1 exclusive per person per day. Japanese retail already had a version of this. Pokemon didn't invent it in a lab. They're just the biggest brand on the planet to point it at children. And it's not the only ID system they've got cooking. Separately, they've been moving toward my number verification for lottery entries and certain Pokemon Center online purchases targeted around August. My number is Japan's government ID card, the one with the chip in it. You scan the chip with your phone through an approved third-party service. It links to your Players Club account, and they say they don't store the number, which functionally means no Japanese government ID, no lottery, overseas collectors, VPN guys, the man in Ohio with 9 accounts, locked out. That one's actually kind of elegant, but stack it, government ID to enter a raffle, face scan to enter a store, for a card game about a mouse. Speaking of standing outside a building at an unreasonable hour, if you ever set a 4 a.m. alarm clock for a restock, and I know some of you have, don't lie to me, you know the run isn't the hard part, the waiting is. Old Salt Coffee is what's in my cup before the sun's up. Code Kyler10 gets you 10% off at oldsaltcoffee.com. Works on the coffee, the apparel, the gear, doesn't stack on bundles. Those are already discounted. Free shipping over $100. Links down below. So, okay, back into it. Here's the number I promised you. Between March 2025 and March 2026, the Pokemon Company printed 10 billion cards. 10 billion in 1 year. Lifetime total is now north of 85 billion, and roughly half of every Pokemon card that has ever existed was printed in the last 4 years. And there's still a shortage. Read that with me again. They're printing at capacity. They have been since early 2025. The factory doesn't meaningfully help until 2028, and the shelves are still bare. So people say, just print more. They did. They printed more in 4 years than the previous 2 decades, and the market swallowed it whole because the shortage isn't about paper, it's about what the paper is for now. A modern chase card, a special illustration rare, runs somewhere around 1 in 180 packs. That's the design. That's not a defect, that's the engine. Once the value of your product lives inside a 1 in 180 outcome, you've built a lottery ticket with a Pikachu on it. Then grading showed up and finished the job. Last year, the major grader slabbed 26.6 million cards. PSA alone did over 19 million. Pokemon was 16.1 million of that, more than baseball, football, and basketball combined, and it wasn't close. Roughly 6 million Pokemon cards got a PSA 10 in a single year. That's not a collection, that's a money supply. And everybody in the chain eats except the person who wanted to play the game. GameStop collectibles are 29% of their sales now. They outsell video game software at GameStop. They were listing $60 prismatic evolution boxes at $150 and $144 booster boxes at $240. So here's the actual shape of the thing. The Pokemon Company can't fix the supply side because the supply side isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. The scarcity is the product. Dilute the chase and you vaporize the value of everything sitting underneath you. They also can't outprint a lottery. Demand for a lottery ticket is functionally infinite as long as people believe the ticket appreciates, which leaves one lever, not the card, not the print run, not the rarity table, you. If you can't control how much of the thing exists, you control who gets to stand near it. And the cheapest way to do that is to stop treating the transaction as the unit and start treating the person as the unit. That's what the scanner is. It's not a security upgrade. It's an admission that the customer is the only variable they can still move. So I want to step off the gas here because there's a version of this video that just, haha, dystopian Pikachu, and that version isn't honest. Think about who's actually been absorbing this for 5 years. Not the company, not the flippers, the 18-year-old working the counter. 2021, Target pulled trading cards out of stores nationwide, not after a policy review, after 4 men jumped a guy in a Wisconsin parking lot over cards. Walmart hard cap purchases in the register after a scalper cleared an entire display and it went viral. Costco had a brawl on video, grown adults wrestling over a box on a weekday afternoon. Card shops are struggling to get insurance now, insurance for a store that sells paper. And in March, at the Pokemon Center in Ikebukuro, the flagship, the Pilgrimage one, a 21-year-old employee was stabbed and killed at work. Reporting in Japan tied that to stocking, not to cards. I want to be extremely clear about that because folding a murder into a scalping video would be cheap and it would be wrong. That's not what happened. But the store closed for 5 months. Events were canceled nationwide. It reopens August 24th after renovations. The company described as strengthening safety for its employees, and it's reopening with entry restrictions. So when this company writes to provide a safe and secure shopping environment and to prevent crime in a store notice, understand that in 2026, that sentence isn't wallpaper to them. The scanner at the door isn't there because Pokemon turned sinister. It's there because we made the counter a dangerous place to stand, and the person we left standing there makes about $12 an hour. So okay, sentimental portion complete. Back to the part where this policy is also extremely funny. Remember the rule, 1 entry per person per day per store. There are 5 stores. So as written, this stops you from walking into the Shofu location twice and does precisely nothing about a guy with a rail pass and a spreadsheet. In theory, you clear all 5 in a day and the system nods politely at you every time. And I beg your pardon, you built a biometric checkpoint with a per location cooldown, and that's not even the most cursed anti-scalper tech in this hobby right now. Shops in Japan started deliberately cutting the corners off booster packaging, damaging the box so it can't be flipped as sealed. Cards inside are fine, the mint premium is dead on arrival. It's a hostage video for cardboard. The official Pokemon vending machines run a phantom stock system. The display sold out while product is still sitting inside, specifically to make camping unprofitable. The machine lies to you for your own good. And my number is quietly about to wall the entire international market off from Japanese lottery product, which is going to be a very funny 6 weeks in the group chats. And here's where I land. I don't want a scanner between a kid and a booster pack. I also don't have a better idea that works by Friday, and neither does anyone screaming about it in the replies. What I actually want is the boring version. Allocate stock to shops that run leagues, cap resale listings, and stop letting the biggest retailer in the space set the scalper price itself. None of that fits on a scanner. So until somebody does the boring version, this is what fixing it looks like. A door that knows you. If this pulled you out of a live stream where some guy in a garage is ripping packs at 1 in the morning, I'm sorry, and also you're welcome. Like if it was worth your time, subscribe if you want more of these, and tell me down in the comments, what's the most surveillance you've ever agreed to for something completely stupid? Gym scanner, festival wristband, an app that wanted your entire contact list so it could sell you shoes. I want the dumbest one you've got, and I'll see you in the next one. Cyler.